After their son's horrible accident, a distraught young couple attempt to find solace through a special birthday celebration. Welcome to the Assorted Kinds independent filmmaking podcast. In this episode, we're talking about our film, The Birthday, with director Chris Laughter.
Hello.
Lead actress Claire Dellamar.
Hello.
And producer Nicole Castillo.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Kevin Rosen-Quan. Hello. Today I am the solo host for this very special birthday episode. Chris, I didn't know it was your birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks, man.
So this episode's about how you were born today.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just talk about your birth, your family. And no, this is about a short called The Birthday.
It's done. It was done a while ago. You know. It was,
yeah, you guys are going to have
reflecting.
Right. So this is how many? Let's start with how long ago was this? Gosh, what do you want to say? Shot, or do you want to even go back further to like when the script was created?
It was conceived so close to when it was shot. We can just say shot.
Okay, great.
So was it 2015?
It must have been, right? Yeah.
No, it had to have.
It was like very soon.
Before,
It was
like way before. I mean, not way, but like.
Do you think
Well, because
2014?
We did Jezebel at the end of
2015.
Oh,
2015. It was like
end.
November.
Yeah.
So maybe was it in the spring?
I think it was spring, summer of 2015.
And it's 2020 now, and we're recording this. So, and people nowadays don't remember things like 5 weeks ago, let alone 5 years ago. So I'm gonna have to really. And I was not. I didn't exist. It's almost as if I wasn't born yet. When you guys shot this, so I have no recollection. I can't help you guys.
We were friends.
All.
We were friends when it happened.
Oh, that's cool.
And you just weren't there for that experience. And
no, it didn't. It wasn't on my radar, but it's about to be. You're about to tell me all about. So the concept was close to shooting time.
Okay,
happened quickly then.
So the concept really was like, hey, I'm terrified of making a film. So how do we like make a film when you don't really want to dive into writing the film because you're scared of what's going to come out?
Interesting. So it's like almost like we're talking about the concept of even making the film in general, not even the story concept.
Right. So The Birthday did not come from like a singular story. The Birthday came from giving a friend. Okay, I'm gonna take this back.
You're not going far enough.
I know. I'm gonna take it back.
All right, we
pull back some layers. Here we go.
88 miles an hour. Let's go back.
Okay, so
he's like doing things with his arms to like prepare
Nicole
himself.
stole from the post office.
Oh, we're gonna go
wait
all
a minute.
the way back.
I like this.
Okay.
I don't even know about this.
Wow.
This is a good
Okay.
place to start.
I'm driving around in a vehicle.
On accident.
I'm driving on a vehicle with two friends, Scott, who was one of the producers on The Birthday, and our other friend, Reginald. And in the back of my car, there's a bunch of boxes and there's a bunch of stuff. And they, from the back seat, they asked me, "Hey, dude, what's up? Why do you have this post office mat in the back of your vehicle?" And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like any criminal would say.
I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, okay, dude, no one just has a post office mat in the back of their vehicle. Do you guys know what a post office mat is? You know when you go to...
I kind of don't,
You go to, you walk up to the line, and then there's something for you to sign on, and it's like a cushy
It's
little
the little
mat.
cushy mat on the counter so your pen can write properly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That
got-
has the stamps of the month.
I was like, it's exclusive
USPS
to
branding.
the post office. They're the only ones that get a
Yeah.
mat that's this cushy, that's
Yeah.
this large.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it also has had a quote from Maya Angelou. And so they're like, dude, you got to get this mat back to the post office or it's going to haunt you till your death. You need to get it back ASAP. And then
Curse
the
of the post
storytelling
office.
commenced from that point forward. And then we came up with some ridiculous story about how many things that Maya Angelou was going to haunt us because of not getting this mat back to the post office.
Man.
So by the end of lunch,
She sounds like a really stern haunt. Like she would just haunt you sternly.
by the end of lunch, we had fabricated this entire story that we're like, this would be a really funny short film.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't want to make that short film, but I love how this short film just came to be. There was an object, and the object inspired a conversation, which just kind of ran amok and went out of control and created this little nugget. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that, but pretty cool. A couple nights go by, right? And like, when you're sleeping and like things process, and then you wake up like, "Ugh!" That's what happened. So,
all the time.
So you just like his heart stops. You think you're dying.
I will. I have this
Saying.
like. Okay, my past life, I was a songwriter, and I would go to sleep having worked on a thing, and I would wake up knowing the song. I'd wake up like, "Huh!"
Nice.
And then I could hear and see the song, and I would just be, "Oh, here's the song," and I'd be like stuck on it all night. So this is like the
you
continuation
gotta
of this.
Work it out in your
thing.
sleep.
Yeah, working out in your sleep.
That.
So, then Scott and I, who were neighbors, started talking about like, dude, like, do you think our friends who like maybe are or are not filmmakers would be down to like do this thing with like using objects as inspirations? And then we asked Nicole, because Nicole's my significant other and lived with me. And then Scott asked Kat, who is his significant other and lives with him.
Nice. They like went their separate ways. So
Yeah.
like, let's bounce this off of our significant others.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
get
our
back to each
soundboards,
other.
our life soundboards. And everybody was like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. It's to essentially like go make a short film, go away for a weekend, use these objects as inspiration points for the story. And our friend Maurice, who was a copywriter who wanted to be a screenwriter, he and I had been like bouncing ideas around about like what short film we were going to do, blah, blah, blah.
But also, he wrote a bunch of stuff that never got made, and you were like, this will get made. And he was like, yeah.
Like, because it was like his stuff was too high budget, or
No,
just
no,
like
just
you know,
for
high
various,
concept, or-
just for any reason and whatever reason, things never ended up really getting made. And so, it'd be exciting for him to actually write something knowing it was going to for sure get made.
right.
Because we gave ourselves, we're going to do it this weekend. And there are going to be no excuses about why we're not going to do it. Because that's what we've been doing for how many years? Way too many years. And so we're like, all right, we're going to get this. We're going to just go find a location. Nicole dug around on Airbnb to find a location, and she did. And then we were like, all right, we ended up kind of having a rough script, and then we just started casting, and that's where we found Claire. Hi, Claire.
That's me.
Wait, so we're kind of having a rough squeeze. So
No, Chris gave him
did they
like
kind of
a
give you
week.
a rough script, or how did you
I
get
mean,
it? What did you see?
There was a script.
There was a script, or there
Okay,
were at least
okay.
sides.
All right.
Because
Yeah,
I
there's a
definitely
script.
auditioned with material. It wasn't just like a crazy
Okay.
improvised.
Yeah, because there was a script and there wasn't rewrites. He just gave us the script and we just went with it.
Yeah.
I guess
So
you're
that must
right.
have been
Yeah,
when I
there
auditioned.
wasn't
You're right.
anything crazy. And
Yeah.
I think you gave him a week.
Yeah.
And then by the next week, because we did it early on in the week, right? Like Monday or something, or Sunday, you're casting?
Yeah. And then that weekend, we
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
Wait, so you weren't Claire. You weren't part of the friend group that we were
No.
like previously talking. What? So did you find the casting? Would you guys put the casting online or?
Cast? CAZT?
I guess.
Oh, I miss it so much.
Although I never utilized that, so I don't even know how I ended up getting the audition. Like I never. It must have been a random, like maybe I was like, oh, I should look on Actors Access for something, or I don't even know.
That's so random.
Yeah.
It was
some
faded.
internet
definitely-
ghost signed you up.
It definitely wasn't through, like, we don't have any mutual, I mean, now we have mutual friends, but
Right.
we didn't know each
Yeah.
other at all. We were total strangers,
Right.
for sure.
Right. And that was such an interesting casting network, right? Because you don't know what's going to walk through the door. It's
Yeah.
like barely vetted.
Yeah.
Like it's
I don't
Very-
remember anyone but you and Dustin.
Dustin came.
Did
yeah.
you? But do you guys remember if you had like a large amount of people that you
There were
went
some
through,
people.
or
There were some people, yeah.
yeah?
Yeah.
Really
But I
don't
mean,
remember
I only
anyone.
remember Claire.
The competition was
Obviously.
stiff, you guys, and I was the shining star.
Cracked
clearly.
through. Cracked through. You also just said, yes, I'll go to the cabin
Yeah.
with you guys for the weekend. So, hey, this is cool.
That was a key element.
And did you know about that? Was that kind of in the casting information, so you kind of knew that going in, or
I
did
think
you
at
have
the
to hit
audition
the?
you said that.
Yeah,
Just
but
at
it
the
didn't
audition,
say
though.
that it was
Okay.
like in it didn't say all of the information of like where it was. I don't think.
I think in the room, you guys kind of were like, hey, this is the deal. We're shooting it this weekend. We're going to go up to Big Bear. So you'd have to be available and be down to do this.
Right. Because, I mean, if you just look at the script and the story, like you could shoot that with any number of budgets, right? It could be this huge thing, or it could really just be like a few people living in the house.
But it had to be
cooking,
far
hanging
away
out
because
there.
remember James wanted that light, that big light that was outside.
Yeah, you wanted the Joker on the
and
outside.
you can't use that in neighbors like in a neighborhood without getting permits.
Oh,
He was really adamant about using
And so
We gotta go out in the middle of nowhere.
it was literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
For James.
That's
Well,
funny.
I mean-
well, it does look really good.
It looked
though,
really good.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
It worked out, and all shot on a Sony
guess you win this
A7S1.
one.
Sony A7S1, you guys.
That's wild because we're just looking through.
Look
We're
in
looking
camera.
through some of these pictures on the Assorted Kinds website. Go to assortedkinds.com. Go check out the birthday. You can watch the whole darn thing. But there's also some really good stills.
Yeah, these look good, you
some
guys.
stuff at night. So I guess he's using this light, and the Joker is kind of. I learned about the Joker a while ago. Is kind of this kind of fancy miracle light that like is an HMI, which are those big, bright lights that you use as like the moon or even the sun or whatever. They're really bright, but they require a lot of power, so much so that you can't normally plug those types of lights into your regular wall sockets. You have to bring generators and all that sort of stuff. So the Joker's in that sweet spot where hopefully, even though you guys are in a cabin, you might have blown some circuits, but hopefully
lucky
you
if
plug
on a
it
few
in and you
things.
turn it on and nothing bad happens. So I can understand
The candles,
why James
those
would
weren't supposed to happen either.
you push it for that.
So I kind of just grazed over the whole idea of the fact that Maurice took a bunch of items that we all just donated to the mission. We're like, I was like, hey, here's a notebook, and Nicole's like, hey, here's like a keychain, and we all wrote little like paragraphs about each item, whether they were real or fabricated. It did not matter.
Yeah, this is interesting to me
Yeah.
because I hate writing scripts. I'm just so bad at it. But I love coming up with like concepts of things, and I feel like that's what gets me to ultimately write a script, is finding some sort of rule set or spine to then start to just something to grab onto that I can start weaving stuff around it, and then inevitably a story will pop out. So
And he didn't have to
like that.
use any or all of them actually.
It was
but
like-
we just gave
throw
it as
them
a
in there
try
and
to
see what you can piece together out of it.
we should put the
Why don't we do that
the
in Assorted
list-
Kinds? We don't do anything like that in Assorted
I know,
Kinds. It's
prompts.
just like write a script and then we're gonna like maybe we'll vote it if it's good.
We're doing
enough.
themes now. We're doing like monthly prompts. That's a new thing as of
Ooh,
2020.
Nice. We got prompts now. We got
Yeah,
writers' workshops.
February is love, man. We haven't done a romantic comedy or a romance thing. Yeah,
It's
we're
gonna be
going
like
for
that.
it, dude.
Those Hulu horror
Yeah.
movies that were like different
Oh,
horror movie
that's
for every
right.
month for every holiday.
Yeah.
Probably not that, but okay. So anyway, you took all those.
I mean, those items basically inspired the writer to do whatever he wanted to do with a single location and two actors, and he incorporated like two of them into the script, and it was just like, write whatever you want to write, dude. And we got the horror film, and I had never intended on directing horror. I love horror films, but I'm just like, I don't really want to make them. So it was a good exploration, and then Claire was like, I hate horror films.
Yeah, I don't watch horror at all.
Well, I feel like
At all.
And yet your film was a horror too.
Well, it was like thriller, suspense. I'll watch thriller, suspense.
Right.
But like, I haven't
Yeah.
seen any iconic horror films. Like The Screams, no. I Know What You Did Last Summer, no. Those
You
aren't
did
iconic.
a good
but-
scream.
oh man.
Thank you.
Claire's film is on Alter. It's called Jezebel.
Yeah, and these guys helped out on it and were part of the crew. So check it out.
That's
It's like right after the birthday.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's a double feature, guys.
You
Double
should. Yeah. just
Check it out.
We'll link to.
what was I gonna ask?
We were talking about the like writing and.
Well, here, but the story itself is sort of, I don't want to say,
we didn't really talk about the story.
I
Yet
want
on
to say
this podcast.
like vague, but it's like it's a it's sort of mysterious in how it's being
Is it vague?
presented. So when you read the script, we're putting together the script. Was there talk about some of the specifics, like how far did you
Well, we only had a
backstories and
read.
such did
Our
you
first
put
table read was
together?
the night before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Our first time of seeing the place and mapping it out, actually, for any sort of pre-pro was also the night before.
Yeah, we like arrived, unpacked, and then sat down at the table and did like
ate and went through the
script.
Yeah.
And there, I remember that you guys were very open to ideas and thoughts from us as well. Like if we wanted to change lines or if we had ideas about it, there was like a discussion of that. I thought.
Okay. And then did you guys like rework the script a little bit that evening? And
not even though.
not really.
Yeah, I don't remember really many changes.
Yeah, we were making adjustments based on like what the location was,
right.
the constraints the location was presenting for us, and then like how are we going to navigate through all these options for these scenes, because we didn't know how we were going to shoot this thing because we hadn't seen the location yet. So
it was. I feel like it was mostly for James to kind of figure out logistically how he was gonna light everything.
Sure.
James Hammond is the DP.
Yes.
James
yeah.
Hammond,
Whenever
yes,
we
James
say
Hammond.
James, we're talking about James, our VIP DP. No, it was MVP DP.
Oh my God!
Just keep adding letters. It'll
He's
be
our
great.
he DPs a lot of stuff. You'll see him a lot if you keep watching our shorts.
So and the birthday happened, before Assorted Kinds was a thing, but it just did get a re-release on the birthday. That's why we're talking about it, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Yeah, we'll have to get into that when we go way past everything into the future and how because again, this was 5 years ago. How this turned into Assorted Kinds. But anything else on the script
writing.
stuff, or
Yeah,
we're almost
you know,
in? That's the interesting thing because you said it happened so quickly right before production. We're kind of like the night before you're reading it, and then you're shooting it the next morning. Is that the deal? The next day?
Once we arrive at the cabin, the next morning we start shooting.
Yeah,
We just
went for it.
Dang.
started rolling. Just started hitting that red button,
And it
What was the first scene? Do you remember?
I feel like it was.
Was it
Did you
outside?
shoot it in order? Well, I guess not because some
but
of it is like
wasn't
a
with
golden
me,
hour. Or
I feel
whatever.
I feel like it was all the stuff at the
with
in
the digging
shed
and the
digging.
yeah.
With Jakob. Am I
Yeah.
pronouncing his name right?
What?
Jacob.
Oh,
Jakob.
Jakob.
Oh, I've only
So-
read his name. I've never seen it. No, it's not true. I know Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob's part of the film club, and he's been doing some things. And
Was he just cast like though as an actor?
Jacob-
like Claire was. Or
Jacob
or
and
is
I
this something
went
different
to
with
film school
Jacob?
together.
Okay, so you guys go
Yes.
way back.
But he still read for the part and got
Correct.
the part.
Correct.
Nice.
I was actually nervous about casting a friend. I kind of wanted to work with actors and kind of like get comfortable with that experience and it not
Sure.
be so like, hey, buddy.
Sure. Which is funny because directors always like casting their friends anyway.
Well,
when it comes down to it.
this is a very much rip the Band-Aid off kind of experience for me.
Sure.
So, I mean, even like when we were doing the table read initially, and I was like, yeah, what's everybody, because like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Right? Like, I can be honest and transparent about that at this
Sure.
point of like, I didn't know what I was doing, just kind of like walking through the fire.
Right.
Why
And,
not?
And I'm thankful that I did that, and it's terrifying. And now we're here.
I realize what did you say?
I was just
Sorry.
licking my
Oh,
lips.
okay.
They were dry.
My lips are dry too.
Dry.
I was gonna say, I realize I've only seen the finished product, so I don't actually know, like how much of it was. Was there more filmed than was ultimately got into the
Yes.
cutting room floor?
Yeah,
So
there's
you
like some
did shoot-
dragging
Right,
scenes.
you shot
And
some-
like,
Jacob's scenes. Jacob had made the ultimate sacrifice with his body, and then all those scenes got cut.
No.
But
he
they
already
were.
made
I mean,
some
he was having
sacrifices
fun
with
the
that
whole
mud.
time. But we were experimenting on how to do gags that none of us had ever done before. Making doors shut and open without seeing where it was coming. Things are coming from. Him being slammed down to the ground and dragged away around a corner.
he popped his shoulder out during that scene.
Oh no!
Do you
He
guys
was
know
ju-
this? He was like,
Oh,
"Oh, it
man.
happens all the time. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "What, dude?
Happens
I'm
all the
so worried about
time."
it."
And he's like,
What?
it's like Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson, when he pops his shoulder out.
Man.
Yeah.
No, so you probably just watched Lethal Weapon and thought it was cool. He's like, nah, it's cool.
cool, man.
I made my shoulder, so I'll do that whenever I want.
Yeah, he got drugged.
Dragged.
Drugged is something else.
Yeah. So first you got drugged, and then
Well,
you dragged
we
her
did
around.
drug
Okay.
him,
all right.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
This all checks out.
Well, so I mean, I don't know, Claire. I want to know more. I want to know more about your perspective because, like, obviously, I
Yeah.
know this one's perspective. I'm pointing at Nicole,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to point at me.
Yeah.
You don't want to know my
but like, I don't know. Tell me the story of like, okay, don't do horror. You don't do horror. You didn't do horror.
Yeah,
prior to
I mean,
this.
I won't watch horror,
Oh.
but I'm not against doing horror. And I feel like I am perfectly suited because I'm clearly afraid. So I feel like my performance will seem really genuine because I'm actually afraid. More, I realized though, when we were shooting the final scene that I was like, there's too many people around for me to be legitimately scared.
Right.
So I did have to actually act. But yeah, you know, I auditioned and I liked the script. And I've always been, you know, I also self-produce and write. And so I've always been really game for the kind of like adventure of guerrilla style self-producing. So I liked that was the idea. And, you know, I had a period of time once I got it where I was like, okay, this is a risk. Like this might be a weird, elaborate way to murder you.
You know, that was the only reason why I went to casting.
Yeah.
to make sure.
Because
to make
there were
us feel
two
like,
guys.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was to make the
That
female
helped.
feel
That's,
safe and
yeah, that's
reassuring.
Yeah.
That's not unimportant.
But I could have been the
Well
worst
That's
one of them
right.
all.
There are
Well
psycho
played.
I
women.
could have been.
I've seen a lot of Netflix documentaries where the mastermind, you know, it's the woman.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
They
so,
usually are the masterminds.
Yeah, because we're so smart.
you guys are the henchmen.
I mean, and now you have no spleen, but who needs a spleen?
yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
why you have like 4 or 5 of them, I think.
Fine.
But yeah, so I was a little bit afraid, I guess, and just kind of hoping that my intuition was right and these people seemed cool and hoping that wouldn't end up being wrong. But once we got to the location, then I felt like I wasn't scared anymore because I saw that it was a legit thing and there was equipment and I felt like this is a lot of equipment to rent if you're just trying to murder this woman.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
it seemed like that wasn't the case.
Yeah. And you guys should see James. He looks like very much the opposite of a murderer. And now he has a little baby. He
Two
just
babies.
Like,
Yeah.
really
I mean,
just
that's what they always
doesn't
say
look
about
like
serial
a
killers.
No,
Yeah.
he's just
No,
the
that's
most disarming
true.
guy.
Like Ted Bundy, right?
Yeah, they're
Like the
all
charmer.
fucking charming.
Basically, this podcast is saying that James is Ted Bundy.
A murderer.
James
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
No.
Can't
no one
defend
got
himself,
murdered on
though.
this production.
No.
But yeah, and then
Distract.
when we were there, honestly, it was such a cool experience because it was really like summer camp, but we made a movie. Like we like bunked together in this cabin that we also shot in. So like I don't even know. I think I slept in one of the rooms and then I like moved maybe because someone was like snoring or something.
Oh, no.
I feel like that happened.
You came to our room the next night.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Because it got a little bit rough.
Someone
after
was
that first
snoring.
night.
So like I ended up in the living room and like the crew was just like sleeping on couches. You know, we were just bunking in this
Right.
place and then would wake up and have breakfast together and then shoot all day. And like the final shots, the final night, we shot until the sun came up. Like we went the
Wow.
whole night
Yeah.
trying to get these final shots in.
Dang.
So it was like such an adventure. And like, I'm sure that once we're, you know, big time filmmakers, it won't be like that. And so I think there was something really special about people just being like, you know what, I want to do this. And so I'm going to be willing to sleep on the floor, sleep on the couch, or like go on this crazy adventure with these people I don't even know, just in the service of like, I want to do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the attitude is so important, and you know, especially the more filmmaking you do, I feel like the less you think of it as that and more as a job or just a big, you know, clockwork that there's so many pieces that you got to deal with. But this like has such an interesting, small and organic kind of
I think when
quality
things
to
are
it.
above board, you know, obviously that's good,
Right.
but you lose a little bit of something when, you know, the insurance and the permits and the location and all of that is in play. Like when you're just like scrounging to make it happen, there's something so fun about that.
That's interesting, like to say it so positively, because I feel like on the maybe I tend to be more negative sometimes than positive, but I could see those same things being so daunting that I wouldn't want to do it. Right? It's there's not enough support, there's not enough money behind it, there's not enough crew, there's not enough time, there's not enough whatever. I can't do it yet, and have it have the complete opposite. Right. Yeah, the complete opposite effect.
Yeah, that's what keeps us from making the art we say we want to make.
Right. Yeah, and you come out the other side, and you just it's no different than spending a whole bunch of money on anything. It's in the end, you're still making the same stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's this whole. I mean. Man, I'm really enjoying reflecting back on that weekend because it was so special.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was exhausting.
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong. Like it was.
It was hard.
Fucking
for sure.
Yeah. We were up early, sleep late, up early again, sleeping late again, just fucking working. And everyone would chip in, like. The actors were helping with carrying gear and like whatever. Everyone
Jacob was flickering the lights during the final
Oh my god,
scene.
all of us were fucking flickering
so
lights.
great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of switches in that house, probably.
And Nicole, was this your first movie making experience?
Yes.
That blows my mind. Because you were such a fucking, can I say fucking?
Yeah.
You were such a fucking boss on that set. Like jack of all trades, just like handling whatever needed handling. She was just all over. I mean, that's why I, in part, reached out to you guys for my film because I was like
I need
these
Nicole.
people are amazing and Nicole will save us.
Yeah.
I gotta hire her.
Yeah.
Like, well, so like, can you like list off some of the just random things that you were going to?
So I helped with the pre-pro, like as far as finding location and stuff like that. That was
figure out the food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so I cooked all the
breakfast
food.
burritos. What's
the
up?
So
all
I
of
cooked
the food.
I know that those
all the
breakfast
meals.
burritos, they're legendary.
That was a thing. Kat helped me,
Nice.
and
Thanks, Kat. I know you're listening.
and the beetle.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
was
the
Nicole
that was.
was-
I found a beetle outside and
Yeah.
wanted to do.
She was like, we should do stop motion. I'm like, oh my god, we should totally do stop motion.
So I did my little first stop motion too
There you go.
with my
Wow,
little
so
beetle. I
many
should have
firsts.
saved him.
He was beautiful.
He was so gunked after that fucking.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then just helped. I think in most of the BTS, you could see me like flying by with something.
Yeah,
at
that's how
random
I remember
moments,
you.
like just like
Taking things
Flying
from point
by.
A to point B.
She was
Yeah.
like holding up. It was like one arm here, one arm there, her foot's got something. Like that's how I remember you. Just like
an
literally
octopus.
holding everything
Teapots.
together.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
holding teapots, easily breakable, China. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know about this about Nicole, but she's essentially she's an enabler. This is in her blood. Is that if somebody is like, I want to do a thing, she's like, I'll help you do the thing. And like, but
I love that.
and I mean, even when we met, you were working in a hair salon.
like you don't remember.
Yeah, and you were like the hair salon enabler, like making sure everything was. You're basically running the salon for all the people who are cutting hair. And then I remember asking, like, do you want to cut hair, like be a stylist? Like, no, I'm good. But like what I'm doing, just enabling. And so it's now transitioned into filmmaking and transitioned into the other things that
I
you
just
do.
enable other people.
But like, what a skill set for a producer to have. Like, that is the definition of
Yeah.
a producer. Someone who is willing to do any and all of the jobs, who enables, the crew and everything to just like get it done.
Just make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen in whatever way you need.
Yeah, which is essentially what you did for my first short with
Which one was the
Jana
first?
Davino. We did
Choices.
Choices, and our friend Jana, who would also she had never worked on
is-
anything film-like, and she
Wow.
immediately I was on like
best
Skype
producer.
too, so I'd never even seen her. I'm just hearing this voice like, I'll help produce it, and I'm like, great, thank you so much. And it's because the two of you worked together, I think, and you showed her like the ropes of essentially needing to be
That
able
was
to
my
do
first
anything and
acting
everything.
Ooh,
That's why they
I
were
need
all
to see
speaking of
this.
doing everything, like eventually she had to stop doing everything so she could go into to being in actor mode, to being in front of the camera for a minute. But yeah, it's been a long tradition, I think, of creating those types of producers in Assorted Kinds, and I think it dates all the way back to this, and that's like really important because I see producers who aren't necessarily trying to do all of that. They're trying to maybe take all the credit for things, but they're not actually trying to hold it all up. And so we're certainly not breeding those types of folks.
Well, there's different kinds of producers, right? There's like a line producer, there's a distribution producer, there's a talent producer, there's a money producer. So there's all there's like different needs for producers, and of course a lot of them will come in and say like, here's a thing I would like credit. Right, whether that thing is money or talent or whatever. And there's the producers that get shit done.
Yeah.
And I think it's like the producers that get shit done that are necessary, especially when you're bootstrapping.
Exactly.
Right, for a scale like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got to have people that are doing that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So, way to go, Nicole.
Good job, you guys. So you guys shot like 2 days worth of three days worth of footage. Now what are you gonna do?
2 days.
Now what are you gonna do with it?
Okay.
Yeah, because
Right?
Friday we got there and we just
Right,
ate
Saturday.
and went over. Yes.
Oh, man,
Saturday
yeah, I wouldn't
and
want to shoot like right when you arrive. You gotta
No
like
way.
decompress,
Yeah.
take a look at the
Yeah.
location. But then, that was essentially what 2 full days.
I forgot Sunday was like more of a morning breakfast, and then everybody kind of departing day. But we stayed we had it until Monday morning. So we had the cabin
Didn't we
from
We
leave
must
Monday?
have left Monday.
We left Monday.
Yeah.
Monday. So we had the
Because
cabin.
that final night with like those super late night, that must have been.
Wasn't that
That
Sunday
had to have
night?
been
night.
Yeah.
Sunday night. Yeah, and it went into Monday. We were outside. I just remember watching the sunrise because the guys were like, "We fucking gotta see it." They were just roided out for no fucking
Going
reason.
for it. Just going
Just
for
cracked
it.
out.
Well, we were just
at that
stoked that
point.
That's
So
what it was.
late.
Everyone was just so
Yeah.
cracked out at that
That
point. Like,
happens.
fuck it.
That happens.
But I mean, we were on cloud nine because we just like did this
almost done.
wild scene. You know, there's a shot in the film where the camera pushes through the woods up to the glass windows, and that scene was on a gimbal, and I'm like just pushing James to make it perfect, right? We don't really have like the full gimbal rig. This is 5 years
That's
ago.
hard to do.
And I think I made him run that shot 14 times without a ready rig. Yeah, he was not stoked. But
Gosh.
it's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it looks really
Yeah.
good.
It's
pretty
really
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean the like the balloons and the fans and stuff when the windows burst open are so silly and fun. It's great. Well, what's funny is we originally wanted to have like blood blasting on Claire. Did we even talk about the blood stuff?
I forget now.
Yeah, because it was like we're gonna just like
man,
spray
that's-
blood. And
We literally wanted it to be like, you know how in those horror movies. Well, no, you don't.
Yeah, right.
But there's like those silly kind of horror movies where you could literally tell it's someone with a bucket of blood and they're just going,
yeah, you're just getting
where it's
like,
just ridiculous and
splash.
kind of like
Yeah.
silly,
Like a
but you're like,
Nickelodeon
oh,
show.
okay, they try, whatever. So we were thinking about different ways that blood could splatter and explode and do all the things, and then in the end, it was just like, man, nobody's got time for that fucking shit.
well, and the
Yeah.
cleanup.
Yeah, well, that's good
Yeah.
that you were
Cleanup.
able to
At a
Right.
rental?
pull that
Yeah,
trigger.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good
they
that
come
you
back
were
to
able
the
to,
rental.
yeah,
They're like,
decide not
there's
to do
blood
that.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It was a tough decision, Kevin.
I left my house keys there, so if anybody ever
Oh
comes
my
across
God.
With the
them-
fucking,
Oh,
remember the
yeah.
keychain
I know.
too?
So this is like a podcast treasure hunt. If you're following
Yeah.
this podcast
Easter
now, go
egg.
to this watch the birthday like a lot of times so you can figure out what cabin that
Get
is.
those view
Don't
counts
Where it
up.
tell
is.
them what
Get those
happened
view
there.
counts.
And
Yeah.
then go and see if you can find Chris's keys. They're
Yeah.
under a floorboard.
Dang.
They're actually just
They're actually
in the
just
wrapped
hanging
in a
right
little
red
there.
bowl,
handkerchief.
No,
No,
They're hanging right by the door.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, like just like
Yeah.
5 years worth of other guests that are just like, well, those aren't my keys, so I'm just gonna leave them there.
Those
So
your
it
keys?
just stays there for
Yeah.
5
Huh.
years. All right. Do you want to go into? You want to talk about the nightmare of?
Well, okay,
of
yeah. Post production was a
finishing.
terrible experience.
Don't know.
Only because we didn't do pre-production. So
Okay.
you shoot a
We
film.
did talk about all this whimsy of like, let's just do it with. Let's not
Yeah,
plan
yeah.
it.
Well, you had the good
Take
idea
some
of having
objects.
Just do it.
Job
Yeah.
on site to
Yeah.
start the
yeah.
edit.
Yeah.
People were editing on site.
Yeah.
But there was
Joke.
no
That's
real
awesome.
thought put into it and no game plan really, other than here's the script.
We kind of had a rough shot list. It was kind of just like, here's the
maybe
pieces
try
we need to
assemble
get.
some stuff.
Yeah, and then it was just like, all right, we're gonna shoot it, and like Joe help us make sure that we don't like blow it and jump over things, and we blew it and jumped over things, and but that's what happens, and then you just figure it out, right? It's like,
what did you jump over? I don't
well,
know this.
it's like connective tissue, right? The connective tissue was kind of thrown to the wayside. How we would like weave through. I mean, really, it was Act 3. Act 3 was kind of just like, yeah, it'll make it work. I mean, without having like the yank out through the door, which turned into like a dream sequence. That was not
Right.
planned. That was supposed to be a scene. And then it was like, it's just not reading right. So it turned into a dream sequence, and then, or it is a foreshadowing sequence, right? So it's Claire's character. It was foreshadowing what was to come, getting premonitions, and that wasn't written in there really. We were just seeing it and feeling it, but we weren't really like gonna go to the clip of it. We're just gonna show it in an actual scene. And then sound was a thing, especially in that scene because the boom was really far from the main performance, which was kind of a master wide, and the boom was like really far from that. And our friend Matt was, this is a bunch of us who were kind of like just thrown into this melting pot of like, hey, you do this and you do this, and here's how it works, and like we're just gonna make this film. It's gonna be awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Just hold the thing, push the button.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I'm literally doing that tomorrow. I'm a sound mixer, and I can't do the short that we're shooting this weekend because I'm working. So I'm gonna take 2 people tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna show them all the
that's
gear and be
right.
like,
yeah.
"Have fun this weekend. Hopefully, I can answer your questions if something happens."
But it's the thing. It's
But you
like
gotta do
it's
it.
not.
Gotta
It's
learn
not
somehow.
terribly. You can't not do it because you've never done it. You just
I
have
was
to
gonna never do it.
right. You just have to not be afraid of it, and just do it. And like, you're gonna make some mistakes, but like that's how you learn. Make the mistake, realize that that's a mistake, and don't do it again.
Yeah.
So hopefully
you
someone
guys-
tells you that it's a mistake, and you know it's a mistake.
Or it's blaringly obvious,
Or
maybe.
right.
Oh, yeah, there's a certain amount.
Is
of
it supposed to
logic
be? Is
it.
the red button supposed to be blinking? The light?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe green is go and red is stops. You don't know. Did you do any like re-recording, any ADR or anything like that?
Yeah, right?
Did a couple things at the house. Yeah.
I don't know what.
I don't
I think
remember
Chris made
now.
one of his tents and I just stayed away.
Yes,
The
I
Fernie
remember.
tent, right?
Tent.
Or
Remember
something.
like a little den or like a
Yeah,
little
he
nook.
loves creating
you
his
just do
little
a little
Fernie
makeshift.
fucking den.
Hey, whatever works.
Fernie tents, man.
ADR, it's a good idea. If
Yeah.
you're listening, you're thinking about making shorts out there, and you're like worried about sound, you can re-record stuff. There's times where you could just not record any sound. That's what the Italians did
True.
back
Spaghetti.
in the day, and they just re-recorded all of it. So,
Although I
Those
do feel
Italians.
like I've learned a lesson with ADR that, I think before I'd really played around with it, I kind of thought like, oh, it's like, it's there. If you don't get what you need, you can easily pop it in, but it's not so easy. And it
very
doesn't
difficult.
seamlessly go in the way that you think it's going to go in. It's really hard to match.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe what you're matching, but it's like you can just hear that it's not the same
What's the
moment.
room tone,
Yeah, you're
right?
just literally not in the same time and
Yeah.
time and space. So do you find, because I kind of find this now, that I recognize ADR much quicker now
Definitely.
in movies because I've had that experience
Definitely.
of recording it.
And even in my own projects, like years later watching it, I can hear what was ADR for sure. And I know we did it several times. We tried so hard, but like
Right,
it
yeah.
still jumps out as feeling.
Yeah.
It's like a visceral thing. It feels odd, or it just doesn't quite sit right with you.
Yeah, but I've noticed that I guess like I think we're probably in the minority of people who notice
For
it. Because
sure.
my whole family, like they have no idea their motion flow is on their TV all the time, and their TVs look like garbage. So in the
I
end,
hate
Oh, the
that.
soap opera
Fucking
mode?
hate that
Who
shit.
knows?
Oh,
I hate
soap
it's
opera
like the
mode.
new thing.
Is it a
too.
new thing?
Every TV is set to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
the
like
auto
it
thing.
looks like
And
a
nobody
home
sees it.
video
Yeah.
recording.
Terrible.
Or
So
at
bad.
first it looked like it was fast forwarded in like a slight,
Yeah, it
you know what I
feels
mean?
fast.
Like it feels
weird.
Yeah.
It's more. Well, they like. Isn't it kind of like in a 60i mode? Isn't that
Yep,
kind of what
that's
they're
right.
doing?
Yep, 60 frames a sec. But I mean, Ang Lee won't listen. He's like, I got Will Smith. We're going to make this movie. But turns out, got like a 14% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Ooh.
That Gemini
For
Man.
what?
Gemini Man.
I don't know what that is.
This podcast is brought to you by Gemini Man.
You know, I think we all.
It's
I
an
love
Ang Lee
Will
movie.
Smith, but I think
Now,
we all
Will
saw
Smith,
that it wasn't
Academy
gonna be
Award
good.
winner Ang Lee should have been great, but it was
Was it?
it was
I didn't even
it was
hear
in that
about
motion
this.
flow.
It's
They shot in
starring
that
Will
motion flow.
Smith and Will Smith.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Now
Okay.
people
okay.
remember.
Now I know.
He
Yeah.
like plays his
Oh.
like younger.
They don't remember
self.
'cause
Maybe
they
he
didn't
should have
market it
fucking
that much
stopped
that
it.
it was
You know,
motion flowed.
sometimes people shouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
Like he just fucking that was it.
We
They
love
should
you, Will.
have.
Though we
Yeah.
love you.
We
Will's
do.
so great.
Keep
He's
going.
all right.
Will's
Keep
so
going.
great.
He's all right.
He's great at ADR.
We'll keep watching your whatever you put
Whatever
out.
you do.
You know, so
That's true.
We're there
if I
for
don't
it.
go to the theater, I'll watch it on Netflix.
yeah. I mean, I did not catch Gemini
Yeah, I
Man,
didn't
but
either.
we will maybe one day.
I saw it, Will. I saw it. I saw it in IMAX. I saw that.
Dang, IMAX.
I saw it in IMAX. I saw that robot version of You Cry, Will. I saw it.
What
And I believed it.
percent would you give it on your tomato scale?
Oh
The
gosh.
Kevin Mado.
I don't know. See, I'm weird about things like that because I went and watched Avatar's not a good movie.
I liked Avatar though.
Avatar taught me some things, man.
I didn't really
I
like
guess
it either.
most people
I didn't
don't-
like it either.
Well, especially when they rewatch it, a lot of people are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Avatar's not great." But I watched that movie a lot in the theater just because it was in 3D, and I knew that it was like some sort of experience to see something that big in 3D. So I feel the same thing with Gemini Man. Like, when are you going to see something that's at 60 frames a second? It looks really weird
Yeah.
on
that's fair.
IMAX. So I went and saw it, and it looked like the first shot is like over the ocean. You're flying over the ocean, and it looked like a home video. Like, it looked like someone was like on a cruise ship. Like, my Uncle Bill was on a cruise ship holding the handy cam over the waves, and I was like, oh. And then there's Will Smith, and I'm like, oh, he got a video of Will Smith was on the same cruise as him, but it looked really strange.
But
I
the
couldn't-
kids love it. You know.
They do.
Something to talk about, you know.
They do.
Like, two Will Smiths, man.
Well, obviously
Two
they
Will
didn't like it that
Smiths.
fucking
Yeah.
much.
No, nobody liked
Well.
it.
No.
Well, we're just gonna delete all that from
Yeah.
the podcast.
You know what I learned? Can I share with you what I learned from
17
Avatar? Can I share with you what I learned
Yeah.
from Avatar?
Yes.
It really stuck with me. I kind of like think about it and talk about it to this day.
You gotta tie it back to the birthday somehow.
I learned about the concept of the circle of energy, the circle of life. Right. I know it was in the Lion King first.
That's where
Chris
that's
just
where I
got
first
told
learned
that
it.
recently.
I
That's
was
where I
just
first got
I
learned it.
just was informed that, hey, dude, it was also in the Lion King, bro.
Yeah, Mufasa tells you.
And I
Didn't tell him.
You know, I just didn't. I wasn't ready to receive that.
That's true.
when I saw the Lion
That
King.
was a long time ago.
And then I saw Avatar, and I was like, "Oh man, that's some shit I can get behind."
Yeah, it's more action oriented for boys.
And now he's
Yeah.
hip hop.
Now, yeah,
That's some shit I can get behind. So you know, that's kind of like
That's
a life
the
philosophy.
birthday, yeah.
Oh, so like
that's
so yeah.
birthday.
That's just
And
like
editing.
The
Just like the
birthday.
birthday.
Ooh, editing.
Post-production for the
Talking
birthday.
about the circle of life, it never ends, and you just keep editing.
How
And
long did you? I mean, how long
it
did you
took me a
edit it
year
for?
and a half to finish it.
He
but
really
okay.
he got to a point where he hated it.
I hated
That's
it.
I hated
Ugh,
it.
hated
no.
it
We hated
so
looking
much.
at it. Then he had to put it away, and then he would bring it out, and then start tinkering with it, and then fucking hate it. And then you put sound to it, and both of us were
Yeah,
like,
that makes it better, right?
okay,
Score.
I see where score.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
And both of us, even because I hated it
Yeah,
too,
music fixes everything.
dude. It really fucking makes things better.
Interesting. Well, wait. So, Claire, did this just like drop off your map for a while? Did it just disappear? for a
Yeah,
while?
which, that's how it goes.
See, I've got a couple shorts that are in
Yeah.
post purgatory, and I feel awful for the actors because they're just like waiting. for it to get done.
It's kind of another roll of the dice,
Yeah.
especially with these things. I mean, I do photo shoots with photographers, and I'll never see the photos
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've done a few projects where you just never see it. And
Same here.
And then after a while, they just stop responding to your email inquiries about it.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be that guy.
You know what that
I promise.
means.
Yeah.
You're like,
Promise
all
you,
right,
actors.
Dang,
I haven't
that's
forgotten
shitty.
you.
Yeah.
So,
forgotten
you go into it kind of knowing that it's like, who knows? Maybe this will be good. Maybe it'll be crap. Maybe I'll never see it again. So I probably just like,
Well, at least Chris never ghosted you.
no.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
He would
No.
never
Can't
do
do
that.
that. You
I
can't do
I
that.
only finished it because of the guilt that I carried for what would happen.
Yeah,
if I did
that's
not
my Chris
finish it.
laughter that I know.
Yeah.
Do it or feel
Right.
bad.
The shame monster is real.
Do it.
Right?
Gotta do it.
And so,
All right.
yeah. So we got finished, and it's
I like
yeah,
it.
I like it.
It's great. You should watch it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like it's a learning experience, man. Even Matt said to me, Matt Davino, one of our Assorted Kinds, Faja. I wanted to say Faja.
That's weird.
You
I
can
almost
call
said
it-
that.
I know.
I mean, then that's what it should be. Certainly, that didn't occur to my brain, but you guys.
Homie,
Define that
so
word
Faja?
for
It's like
people
not-
who might not know what that means.
Yeah. It's not like Film Club Dad. It's like Film Club Faja.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Um,
I mean, it's
It's not
pretty
what
accurate.
Nicole meant.
No.
So
right now.
So anyway, Matt would always say like, dude, you just gotta like go make some bad films so you can start making some good ones.
Ooh,
And I was just like,
that's real.
I was like, well, yeah, you're right, man. Make some bad films so you learn what a bad film is and what making a bad film feels like, so you don't do that again. Or
which is important if you
you
want
know?
a career in filmmaking
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But then so some people they'll still shoot a short and then they'll release it online or whatever and that'll be
Yeah.
that. But did you put it through you put it through festivals?
I submitted to a lot of festivals. I spent like $500 on film festival submissions, but
Okay.
I think I was just submitting to festivals.
You
that
were submitting to random ass film.
Yeah,
Like
like not
all of
horror
the
film
ones you heard.
festivals.
Yeah, it was not strategic at all.
No, I'm like, yeah, that would be cool.
But that was another
Yeah.
learning curve.
Yeah,
Totally.
We didn't know anything about that.
right. It's like,
That's
even
a whole
5
other
years ago,
racket.
yeah, it was
you
Right.
know?
I'm like submitting to South by Southwest, and like, of course I'm not going to get into South by Southwest. But I'm like, I'm a Texas filmmaker. I mean, like, come on.
You never know.
I don't know. I had a friend who I did a short with, and he actually hired a guy. Well, he went to a seminar. He paid money to go to a seminar that was just about strategies of submitting a film to a film festival, and then got him to do a personal one-on-one just so he could specifically understand why to send it in one film festival or not to another. So like it's
And then? But
speak,
did he learn
speak of a
anything?
racket.
Did he?
Yeah, I mean it was great because it was his film. I just got to sit there and learn for free.
Oh.
But yeah, he ended up, I think it was well worth it to him because he ended up not just kind of taking $500 and doing a blanket thing, but taking a less amount of money and very specifically targeting, I don't even know, maybe 2 or 3 things, some of which he got recognition for, and others which he's like, I probably never would have, been on that
It's
radar.
like
So I guess it was worth it for
Submitting
him.
to college, right?
But
Yeah.
it's
There's always a
whole
couple
thing
that you're
to
like,
figure
I
out.
know I'm not going to get in there, but
Yeah.
fuck, it'd be tight if I did.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
should.
but you never know unless
Yeah,
you
but
try.
you never know.
For sure.
I think that's been kind of a hard, or I guess I don't know after doing that with my own short films. Like, it feels like there's sort of this line where there's the film festivals that could actually help you and would be a good festival to get into that are pretty hard to get into.
Sure.
And then there's so many other film festivals. And so, I had gotten into a good handful of those other film festivals. And
Right.
a few of them were just an absolute joke. And
Yeah,
and I
sometimes you
felt
don't
like,
wanna-
what are we even doing
Yeah.
here in this like weird theater in
Yeah.
this back room
Yeah, I
that
feel like it's so tough.
The
to be a
YMCA.
filmmaker.
that only
Yeah.
friends of whoever's films, they
Sure.
didn't do anything to really create a following. So I guess it's kind of made me a little disheartened in terms of film festivals where I kind of feel like what is the point unless you can get into some of these like bigger, better festivals? Like, is there really a point in going to the other festivals?
Right.
Well, the medium ones are good. Like, I know that Matt Davino has made a lot of connections through the medium ones that he's gone to.
But a lot of
from
them are
New
horror
York.
specific, aren't
Yeah,
they?
but I
What
mean,
do you
there's
say,
genres
media?
for everything.
Medium.
Medium.
Like
medium
Yeah,
size. They're not
middle,
the
level area.
yeah. They're the mid-level ones where they're still being selective on who they're accepting, and it's not in a shit place. Like it's in a decent auditorium or whatever.
Well, Matt will call it genre, not horror. If you were here now, he'd be like, "There's genre festival." But he's got a point. Like it's an interesting middle ground that he was smart enough to hone in on and say, it's a place where you can be a big fish in a small pond and get recognized, but not be so low on the totem pole.
And especially
that the
being an
recognition isn't worth
actor,
anything.
like you go in those and people are seeing you on the screen. You can talk to a director right there. That's actually pretty decent. It's not like shitty because we've seen decent. What was that one? We went to one. I think one of the first film festivals I went to. I was like, wow, these are really bad films.
Yeah,
like even just the quality
Right.
of the films were like, oh my god.
And then that makes you feel weird about your film because you're like, should
it's
I
like-
be happy that we got selected?
I had this like a sort of similar experience on Instagram with buying Instagram ads. I bought some ads through Facebook and Instagram for my short, and because of that, and because I like promoted it on Instagram, the algorithm got all weird. And it started sending me promotions of other similar short films.
and you're like, what's this shit?
But some of these shorts were like, really, really, to the point where I'm just like, you spent all your money on your Instagram ads, and you shot this short film with your phone, and in your bathroom in the mirror. Is that what my short is like? It's just it's the same.
Dang, Bob is going to be listening to
the
this
same
and
amount
being
of
like,
ad rev as they are.
He's
like,
talking about my film.
gosh, is this
I'm the
what
one in
my
the mirror in
movie
the
is?
bathroom.
Yeah, am I that? Is that what that is? So you
No, but you
can be
did it.
disheartening.
You did hashtag short film.
I did.
And then you just got served all hashtag
I
short
got
films.
exactly, and I had to. It took me a while to get rid of that. I had to just do hashtag cats, hashtag Persian cats, hashtag fat cats, hashtag fluffy cat, until I finally got enough
to your
cats
cat algorithm.
back on my Instagram feed,
Yeah.
and I was okay again.
So we also rented out our own theater and did our own little screening, which was actually probably the highlight moment of the thing. We showed The Birthday, and we showed Taylor Schaffner's first short film. Taylor Schaffner did the first film in Assorted Kinds, Mr. Mailman. So this is the film before Mr. Mailman, which is, I don't think it's ever going to come out. So we showed those two, and then did like a little kind of Q&A screening thing for friends and family. And then I had a bunch of people that I didn't expect were going to showed up, like friends from other industries who like knew me from like content stuff, and they're like showed up and supported and asked cool questions, and people were like, what now? What next? Right. We were talking about
Always the big question.
Right, how it came to be, talking about the story of at the time we were calling the project Maya because of the Maya Angelou's story.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so
I didn't know that element of it.
That's
so
interesting.
we were calling it Maya. Scott Tillett came up with this algorithm which stood for me and you and ...
Oh, that's genius.
Right.
Man.
Insert fill in the blank.
Marketing.
Right. And so we were calling it Maya. And so we were talking about Maya on the stage.
Why wasn't that ever float? It took. I want to say months, if not weeks, coming up with the Assorted Kinds name, and Maya sounds great.
Yeah,
But anyway, Assorted Kinds is great too. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's a cool concept.
So people were like, well, how are you going to keep doing the whole get your friends together and like make a film with objects and stuff? And my short answer was like, oh yeah, I would love to. And then my long answer was like, oh my God, it was so much work, and like, I don't know. It's like, as a filmmaker, you kind of are carrying the weight. If you're like the kind of like central piece of the thing, from producing it to directing it to then finishing post, it's exhausting. You get to the end of it, you're tired, and you kind of want to take a break, and you don't want to like think about doing that again. I think thinking about doing it again without having any hope of like ROI is what was getting to me.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna make a short film, and like that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then like short films don't have any way to make its money back. So you spend money, and then you just spend it as like a calling card. You spend it as like proof of concept. You spend it as pitch piece. So doing that again, where it was all on my shoulders, I was kind of like, no, I'd rather like maybe make a feature or a TV show or something.
Yeah, most people do like a one or two, and then that's about it when it comes to shorts.
And then in talking with a bunch of the buds, right, we kind of all just wanted to like be flushing out ideas, and that's kind of where Assorted Kinds came from. It's like, well, hey, the weight won't all be on you. I'll take some of the weight. I'll take some of the weight. I'll take some of the weight. And that kind of collective model came about because of the want to keep doing it without having it all be on one person's shoulders. It's like, hey, we'll kind of like carry some of the load, lift you up, support you, and we'll do that for each other. And that's kind of what Assorted Kinds was birthed out of, was kind of like this experience with the birthday.
From the birthday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Full
So,
circle.
yeah,
Full
so,
circle
like-
of life.
Yeah.
Right. So without
So
the birthday,
Avatar.
Oh gosh, yeah, I didn't want to take it that far back, but without the birthday, I wouldn't have my job here at this podcast because none of that would exist. And so,
It's all
even though
Maya's.
it wasn't,
Maya's doing.
it's all
Maya.
Maya's doing. Thank you, Maya
The
Angelou.
thief at the post office.
Yeah.
Is really the one to blame.
That's
That's
the,
true.
that's the real.
I didn't
inspiration.
mean to.
Did you ever
steal
get it back to the post office?
Hell no.
Or is it still haunting us to this
You
day?
can't just
You
walk
can't
in
give
with
it
the fucking
back.
Yeah,
Can't give it
like
back.
You're like,
Yeah.
hey, guys.
Hey, I took this.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Just like the guy who's been shot,
Yeah.
and you dump him off at the hospital as you're driving by. You
dang,
know?
I just whip
It's-
it, frisbee
yeah,
it, and
you just
door.
drive
Someone
past.
opens the
Look,
door.
a lot of the post office have those drive-through things with the blue bins.
shit
you
won't
just
fit in
put it-
there.
Oh, is it too thick?
No.
It's
Oh,
too
okay. I
thick,
thought
it
maybe you could
won't
roll
fit
it
in
up and
there.
just shove it in. I'd love to see this car drive up, window slowly, window goes down, and then this mat is just getting like shoved into this thing.
That's
Well,
a good visual.
Yeah, you guys should just hang
Good
on
visual.
to it for
I should have kept
posterity.
it for I don't know what the fuck I did with it. That was so.
We do
long
need to
ago.
put up the. I do have in a folder somewhere all of the like objects and the paragraphs for all the objects, which informed
that's
Maurice to
cool.
write the thing. We can put it up on Assorted
Yeah.
Kinds. We'll
Yeah,
put it on the
something.
website.
Yeah, exactly. That's some good website fodder
Yeah.
for sure.
You know, we gave back the objects, right?
Yeah,
I don't even remember
everybody
what the
who
fuck I
donated an object in a
gave.
story, who gave us the objects,
Yeah.
got their objects back.
I don't
You know,
remember.
I mean,
That's good.
we don't have them.
Yeah, you didn't break any objects.
No.
Yeah, were there any? There weren't
Ooh.
any like anything other
don't
than
know.
someone's shoulder going
Well,
out
Jacob's
of the socket.
keys
Was there
got
any-
used,
Yeah,
Anything
the only
major that
two, I believe, two objects got used.
or wait,
The
Scott's?
the key, and then the lock that we unlocked to go into the shed.
Oh
Which
yeah, I
we-
think that was Scott's.
Scott's. We had a shot of it to like show like this is the object, but then we're like that doesn't.
And then
we
Chris
don't
is like,
need
"I'm
that.
cutting this
We don't
too."
need it. It's like well,
Sometimes
you
you
know,
gotta be cutthroat
yeah,
at
it's
the
like
end there.
why I'm not gonna just
Conceptual
gonna show
things
the
are like
lock
this,
because
you know?
it's like just because it was written in to be shown. Like,
I don't know. That's what I don't know. That's what crazy avant-garde directors do.
Your favorite
Just show
fucking
random
movies
pictures
show
of
that.
locks.
They
That's
do
what-
the pan.
That's what Lynch would have done. He would have just had this
But-
random
but
lock
the
in
lock-
black and white all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
The lock didn't really serve the story. It was part of the story of it coming to be, but it did not serve the actual
Subliminals.
story.
Go. Well, it's good that at
Subliminal.
least
Yeah.
comes out in the podcast. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
a little extra about it.
The lock and the keys. I think that's what we got used. Oh,
then you left your
the little dinosaur that was the toy.
Oh,
for
that's
the
right, the
kid.
toy. Of your child.
Yeah.
My kid's toy.
Yeah. Ethan.
What a little creep.
Little fucking creepy fucker.
Yeah.
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 Everybody. Well, a lot of people were like, "You never showed the kid, dude." It's like, yeah,
That's
man,
the best part. See, I love things that there's another short that I probably need to be editing, and my actors are really mad at me for not editing. But
You'll get to
that
it.
was about
You'll
that.
get
It was
to
a
it.
two-person scene, but the reason they were fighting was because of this third person. And so even though the third person was never in the scene, it was very much a three-person dichotomy. And I think the birthday had the same thing. There was,
Yeah.
and that was what created that mystery and tension throughout the whole thing. Is you know that there's just something between these two that's so very deep, and all you need is something like the dinosaur to
Yeah.
kind of put that point across to the audience.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
I was just thinking about. I was just kind of like pondering about the theme of grief, right? We were because even you're talking about Pilot
That's what
Light.
a lot of modern horror is about, like
Yeah.
Hereditary, those types of like.
Didn't catch
scary-
that.
Ooh, there's
Oh.
Don't
some of
watch
these.
that shit.
Yeah, some of these movies.
Ooh.
It's really more about like actors and actresses or characters experiencing grief and like how
Yeah.
that
You-
factors into horror movies.
Well, in this was so interesting too because you had these two characters who were processing grief very differently.
Right.
And one of them was like really struggling with it. The other one was trying to kind of move past it and support the character to their significant other to move past it. And it was interesting. I love the dinner table scene. It's my favorite scene in the film, hands down.
Yeah.
And I really wanted it to be a single shot scene, but we got coverage and ended up using the coverage. But just like sitting in these two characters who are dealing with this thing. We don't know what they're doing. You know, the audience is not intended to know what they're dealing with.
Right.
But just to see you guys like play. I remember I was like, first time you guys played it, I was like, oh man, I was like, I got goosebumps in this moment.
Nice.
You know, especially like for first short film, first real scene between two characters who are like getting to kind of work through the conflict. You just want to see characters work through the conflict, like seeing it. And it was shot beautifully, and there was the creepy plate in the background.
The creepy plate.
It was so good.
The woman, right?
The woman on the plate in the background.
Yeah.
It's funny that you have like a
So
moment.
good.
Like, I feel like I had a moment like that too when I started directing first things. It's like so much time is about like logistics of things or stories or plot in A to B, and then like when you actually see like the actors that are like really connecting, and you're like, oh wait a minute, this is what it's all about. Not figuring out these logistics, but this like story that blooms out of all of these people taking care of all these little logistics. So
And
that's why movies are great.
Yeah. And it's so, you know, I love the idea of what you can do with two people sitting at a table having a conversation. You know, where can you take it? And like, can you actually craft a character arc from one conversation? Can you craft a 3-act structure from a conversation? The answer is yes, absolutely.
As long as you drag one of them out the front door at the end, you got something that's interesting.
Yeah. Another thing I've been thinking a lot about with the birthday too is the beauty of just having landscapes and shooting scenes with like an environment that lends to just good cinematography without having to do all the production design and do everything to make a box interesting, right? When we start shooting in a room, I go overboard usually because Nicole is like, I'm down, let's do it.
Oh man, you guys are in for some.
enabler.
You guys are in for some great wallpaper.
We go ham, and it's so fun, but it's a ton of work. And the birthday was like, shooting Big Bear and like the mountainscape, man. Whew, man, the shot with Claire with the balloon and the dude, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's like
It was all really nice.
There it is.
Thumbnail shot.
Yeah.
With that creepy font.
Yeah.
Really weird, scary font.
That dangerous ass fucking road leading up where Luigi got his truck stuck.
Yeah.
Remember?
Uh-oh.
Trials and tribulations of bootstrapping.
Yeah.
That's right.
It can be dangerous, but
Well, he also had tiny wheels on his truck.
Luigi, you and your tiny wheels.
They're
Silly
undersized
Luigi.
tires and wheels on his truck. They got stuck on a mountain going to Big Bear.
Chris has like 20-inch rims on his car, so take that for what it's worth.
So, I mean, overall, man, the birthday was a cool experience, and it's cool that it led to inspire what became Assorted Kinds, where, we're going into production 24 for Assorted Kinds this weekend. Whoa.
Man.
2 years. So
It's incredible.
it's pretty special to like reflect back on the kind of the seed that planted the intent.
Which is why I think ultimately we thought this was very appropriate to put on Assorted Kinds, even though it technically predates all of it, because it really embodies the spirit and perhaps was the genesis of said spirit.
Dang, Jennifer.
That's right.
Love
that band.
It was kind of like the 1 year out kind of film launch for Assorted Kinds. We've been making films for 2 years, but we've been releasing films for 1 year, once a month.
Yeah. So you should have called it the anniversary, is what you're saying. I get it. No, it's cool, but it's too late. It's too late.
That's the version 2 font.
Oh.
There's a previous font. It's actually in the film.
Was it Papyrus? Because Avatar already did that.
Oh, one of my favorite things also about this is the closing credits.
Oh man,
Dude. So great.
Grace
That's right.
Nayun Ree. Grace, I'm sorry if I said your last name.
He's sorry.
Incorrect.
He's messing it up.
Matt Toth discovered her on the internet. Maybe you guys have heard of it. And she was a student or had just graduated from CalArts. Is that where all the it's kind of like all the art kids go?
Yeah, a lot of them
Sounds
do.
right.
Sure.
Yeah,
don't
Cal
know.
Arts, and she just had a really twisted animation reel, and it was so dark and so cool. We just met up with her for coffee. I'm like, hey, got this thing. Would you be down? She said yes. And it's definitely one of my favorite parts because it embodies what you can't see on camera.
Yeah, it tells
as
the
like
story that you
it's like a
can't
celebration of like just the idea behind it.
But in such a fun, creepy.
Mm-hmm.
That's so fun.
Super
Just
fun.
like the opening credits of City Slickers.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Fuck, I don't remember that shit.
Yeah. Go check it out.
Go check it out.
Check it out. But all right. Any closing remarks from?
No, I mean,
anything
I
we
mean,
missed.
Claire, what are you doing these days? You're doing a lot of comedy and a lot of like you're doing some stuff, right?
I'm doing a lot of comedy. I've got a comedy group called Whoa Man.
Whoa, man.
I already like it.
Which is an all female 5-person sketch comedy group. And so we kind of started out in a similar way where we just were like, man, we should do something. And what if we encouraged each other to write and stopped waiting for someone less talented to give us a green light?
Right.
Let's just give ourselves this green light. So we came together and we put on a show that was all original pieces. And I had maybe a chip on my shoulder, a little vendetta, but I wanted to make sure that it was creatively only from women. So I wanted to make sure the writing, directing, producing was all from women, so that if people found it funny, they couldn't blame the one guy that was involved. And they would have to admit that women are funny because they
Well done.
obviously are, guys.
Done.
Yeah, so that was my contribution.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did that. Then we did a second show. Then that snowballed into a residency. Then we started producing some of our sketches into like digital shorts.
Nice.
And then that got us a whole production team.
Wow.
So we've been pitching the show to networks. And it's just like really exploded and been this amazing project that is like with my best friends and has like shown me that I can write and direct and produce in a way that I just like didn't even really give myself permission to do before.
That's so cool.
So yeah, check us out at Woman Comedy.
.com.
Nice. Woman Comedy.
WomanComedy.com and then also at
Oh.
Woman
You guys-
Comedy on
Yeah.
Socials. On the socials.
Whoa, man.
like woman.
Yeah.
The
Whoa,
whoa,
man.
man.
From it's a throwback to So I Married an Axe
Yep.
Murderer.
Yeah.
He
Well,
does
Michael
the like weird
Myers.
beat poetry.
Whoa,
He's
man.
like, she was a thief. You gotta believe. She stole my heart and my cat.
My cat.
You know, and he's got like the weird cigarette.
Go look it up on YouTube.
Look it up. It's
that
really
scene's
funny.
on YouTube. You can probably find it.
Yeah.
You can. I've looked it up recently.
Amazing.
I've really enjoyed watching it kind of like live and go and breathe, and like, you know, I'm watching it from Instagram, right? Like, oh yes, thumbs up.
Nice.
You know, I'm really bad at like like leaving my house to go to a thing, and so I do want to make it to an actual show when you're doing those again.
Yeah, we've kind of taken a little break from the shows to now like start producing our pieces,
Yeah.
Right.
and then also just like the machine of pitching a show, which is a
Sure.
crazy experience. Crazy awesome, but crazy.
Yeah.
What I mean, can we keep talking about this stuff? I'd love to keep talking about this stuff. We're here.
Sure.
I don't get to see you very
I
often,
know,
so.
right?
And we're on a podcast. Might as well talk about like the business of filmmaking, because we didn't pitch the birthday, so we might as well talk about pitching. Whoa, man! Web series, different sketches, right? And
But not web series.
oh,
We've done the sketches just like as individual, kind of like what SNL does with like a digital short. That's kind of how I call them. So they just live individually online. They're usually between like 2 to 4 minutes, and it's just an individual concept that we execute with different characters. And yeah.
and so what is the process of like actively pitching and like are you kicking down doors, or are you like?
We got really lucky, and once we put out our first digital short, and it's called Dick Pic, and it's like a musical number about a girl who's never gotten a dick pic and is like bummed about it
Right.
and feels
What's wrong
like,
with me?
Yeah, she's like, what gives? I thought I was cute. What the hell? So she kind of sings this whole song. And we actually did that, talking about guerrilla filmmaking, we did it as a one shot. And we did it at 5:30 in the morning in the Arts District of downtown LA. No permits, no insurance, nothing.
Get in there.
We just brought about like 12 actors, and we had them all dressed in suits, and we had choreographed, you know, there was a scene at a table that wasn't a one shot. And then as soon as I got up and the music started, it was all a oneer. So we had people like hiding behind cars and then like running behind me. And we started in one location, and then the sun came up and ruined the shot. So we had to move around the corner on the fly and just like keep going. Anyway, it was amazing, and it came out really great. And so that kind of got us some attention from producers and managers. So we got this team on board of some really great people that have done some big stuff in the industry. And so they have really helped facilitate us getting in these rooms. But it was a journey with them of about a year of them, you know, wanting us to rework some of our stuff and bringing on a more seasoned writer and having her help, and then us also finding our own voice in that and deciding like when we wanted her advice and when we felt like, no, our gut was right.
Sure.
And then finally we did, so their idea was for us to do it as a live pitch show, since what we had been doing was a live show. They thought that that was the best way to present it. So we did 2 nights of the same show for these network buyers. And then after that, we took meetings with anyone who would take the meeting with us, which luckily was a good handful. And then that's a whole other beast. You know, we had to do this like 20-minute pitch where we are telling about what the show will be like and the concepts, while also like seamlessly breaking into bits of characters that we do, coming back out of that, talking more about the show.
Jeez.
So that was hard as well, and like a whole different skill. Like, how do I tell you why this is awesome, and then like sort of show you? And
Wow.
so yeah, now we're in this place where we're waiting to hear back, and hopefully someone will buy it. Please buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's
good.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's been a lot of fun. And I think it's like, you know, women doing these big, like we play a lot of guys, we do these big characters, we talk about all sorts of things, but it's not about being women, which I think has been kind of a corner that women have been pushed into. And same with minorities, same with gay people. It's like when they get to take center stage, the story tends to always just be about that you're a woman, that you're gay. It's like we just tell stories, and we happen to be women that are telling the stories. And
That's
so I think that's
awesome.
why it's felt kind of new and refreshing and the way it needs to be.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like that's the next step. If it would, you know,
sure.
when you are like persecuted or marginalized, you do feel like you need to come out there strong. But I feel like that's happened, and it's been a good thing for
for sure.
everybody. But I feel like that really is the next step, is sort of getting past that and showing that it's, you know, we shouldn't just like these things because it's all made by
Right.
women. You should just like these things because it's funny
Because it's
and
great.
it's done by talented
and it happens
people.
to have women in
Exactly.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's so awesome. It's really great to
Thanks.
hear.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I'm
great.
glad. I love
Cool.
talking about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then I got to plug Jezebel, because you guys were
yeah.
a part of Jezebel.
Yes.
So yeah, I made a short film a couple months after the birthday.
Okay.
And this is another reason to help people out and collaborate, because I mean, this isn't why I did it. But then when I started to, you know, pull together my crew, I thought, well, hey, I helped these guys out on a whim, and I did this crazy thing with them. Maybe they would be willing to do the same. So I brought both Nicole and Chris on board, and Chris did Boom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sound guy,
And
known
Nicole
for
was
it.
jack of all trades again, I feel like, also crafty. So, and then that's been out, but we just got picked up by Alter on YouTube. And so they've sort of re-released it.
Nice.
So you can check it out on Alter.
Okay.
I think it's at Watch Alter, or just on YouTube. It's just Alter.
And the short's called Jezebel.
It's Jezebel,
Jezebel.
and it's
Nice.
another kind of like horror thriller type thing.
Yeah. What's the log line? Do we know? Do you know off the top of your head?
Love cannot save you.
Oh.
Ooh.
Tantalizing,
Yeah.
you know.
Because I was always under the impression love could save you. So
Yeah.
this is like
I feel
It
like I've been,
can't.
feel like I've been
turns
tricked.
out
Yeah,
I was wrong.
cannot. Yeah.
Propaganda once again.
And,
Don't forget Valentine's Day, guys.
Oh,
Just a
yeah.
couple of weeks.
very soon.
Yeah, you have to release this before Valentine's Day.
Oh gosh, I can do that.
No pressure.
I can.
You know that Valentine's Day is the only day that I have real obligations to my lovely relationship with my significant other. It's a thing. We talked about this when we first started dating.
I said I had a talk with him about my expectations. I was very clear.
I love that.
Yeah.
She got a flow chart.
Also,
out.
I could see how it would be very fucking scary for a dude, and you're just like coming out the gate, fucking hot as shit. But I was like, yeah, Valentine's Day, I don't give a fuck about anything else, but I like the tradition of Valentine's Day. I think it's very sweet. I think something can be done that doesn't necessarily have to cost a lot of money.
Totally.
But that is a day that is celebrated for me, and so you need to fucking get on it.
Over like anniversary type stuff, or
We don't even celebrate anniversary.
you don't
Yeah, we
celebrate.
stopped doing that.
We're not really, we're like not gift givers for each other. We just like, it's more
I mean,
about
we did the
presents.
first couple years, but
Makes it
after
easier to
you're
remember,
16,
you
it's
know?
like,
It's too many gifts.
Too many gifts.
You
and
know?
then what?
I mean,
Because we buy each other things randomly anyway, so it's
there you
like,
go.
and our birthday's 3 days apart from each
Yeah.
other. So we have like one party usually,
There you go.
unless it's like one of our, like, you get a 40th.
Yeah, so that was-
Oop, whoops.
I'll delete that part.
oh dang,
You'd never know.
Yeah.
I know.
So the big numbers, it's like, oh, this is your
It's
party.
easy, yeah.
This one's your
Sure,
party.
sure,
Of course.
Yeah.
But then, you don't have to memorize specific dates.
man.
specific
Dude, we
things.
don't
You
even
just
know
go
when it
just
fucking
the
is
14th
anymore.
of February over
What
and
day
over
is it,
again.
dude? I don't know
That-
what's going on. So anyway, so February is the month of love, and so the theme for Assorted Kinds this month is love. You know, what script's gonna come out? What film's gonna come out for? I don't know. Anyways, let's wrap this up.
All right,
Does
I'm
anybody
gonna
else wants to add anything?
wrap it up. I mean, what?
You're gonna edit this, right? Jeez.
No,
none
It's
of
gonna
it.
only be the parts
it's
about
all
Will
gold.
Smith.
Yeah, actually, it's
Avatar.
gonna be a
This is
5-minute
our-
podcast
our
about
take on
Avatar,
Will
Will
Smith.
Smith.
Anybody else want to know
Gemini
anything?
Man.
We should start accepting questions for our podcast from
How
the
can they
audience.
ask questions when they don't even know what
Look
the fuck?
at all these contraptions right here. There's a way to make this work.
Or you could like Facebook Live
Kevin,
it,
Facebook
Kevin,
Live
do
it.
more.
Yeah,
Kevin?
and then like
I'll
people
figure
can
it
watch
out.
it, like the Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
We can do
Yeah,
this.
Throw it on the Twitch or something.
know.
Get on it. Wait, there's the Discord, I think, is a thing. This is what I hear is Discord.
I don't know how to enable this. So.
I don't either, but Discord is like a way where people will chat with you, and you just
Yeah.
tell them when you're recording, and they'll do it.
Although I do kind of hate on Facebook Live when people are like, "Hey guys, oh hi, oh
I
yeah,
hate
hey."
that.
I'm like,
Yeah,
stop.
see, no,
Just
yeah,
stop.
yeah. I'm gonna veto that right now. If
No
we're
to
gonna
that.
if we're gonna answer questions, it's fine. If people have
No,
questions about how
pre-submission.
to make shorts, how
Yeah.
we make shorts. It's great, but
Yeah.
no, I'm not. This is a podcast about us talking about our shit.
Someone's talking about feelings, and you're like stopping
Yeah.
to say like
No,
hi
I
to someone.
So-
I don't got time for that.
So moral of the podcast is just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. If you want to make
Nike?
some art, yeah. I
Do
mean,
it.
I mean, Nike stole that idea from us, but yeah,
I know.
I mean, to bring it
back.
back to Shia LaBeouf.
Just do
Yesterday,
Oh,
you
man.
said tomorrow.
There-
Just do it.
There was a. This is not the first podcast
It's so
where
inspiring.
we've said that.
I watch it all.
I wish you guys could see
Honestly,
fucking what
is
Chris is
so
doing right
inspiring.
now.
Like it feels like a joke, but like I think about it a lot, and I'm like, that's right. Yesterday you did say tomorrow. Just fucking do
Just
it.
fucking do it.
Thank
just
you,
need
Shia.
friends.
It's just he's just so intense
I
and
know.
and like
He's-
upset that like it just like it's hard to watch that without
Oh, I've watched
met
it.
him
getting
once.
scared.
Me too.
He's real nice.
Man.
Yeah, he was like unassuming the time I met him. And
If
then another time I saw him at a comedy show and he was having a time. Like rocking and like smashing his hand on the wall when he thought things were funny. I was
Well,
like,
I mean,
how
you
come?
know,
Needs you to know.
why not
He
just
needs to
express
let you know.
yourself, dude?
Yeah.
Express yourself.
Yeah.
He's an actor.
Shia is here.
Shia. If
This
anybody,
podcast is brought to you by Shia.
I wish you guys.
you guys, if anybody's got
Honey
a
Boy
line to
Theaters.
Shia,
Or Justin
this
Long.
this table has ideas for Shia.
And Justin.
is Shia on cast? Can we, if we just throw an audition on cast, would we find
Honestly,
him?
I like wouldn't put that past Shia.
Right?
Probably, yeah.
to like show up to an
his
audition
cast
there.
phase where
Shia-
he's just like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna go to whatever audition short. I just close my eyes and poke at one.
You think Shia's maybe on the Bill Murray tip right now, where he just like shows
bet
up
he
at
does
people's
shit like
Definitely
that.
slide
Oh,
into
yeah.
that pretty effortlessly.
Yeah.
I think he could do that well.
He's that guy.
He could do
He's
that
that
well.
guy. It's so good. Never stop, Shia.
Yeah,
Don't
he's just
stop.
gonna like just delete himself off of all social media and everything. He's going to have one flip phone with a phone number that only certain people know. They give him scripts on that flip phone.
And that's it.
And then that's it. He
You're
decides
in.
if he wants
And then
to
random
audition,
weddings.
That's it.
Shows up at random weddings too.
Are we
Yeah,
still
he'll
talking
show
about
up.
Shia, or are we talking about Bill Murray?
This is what
Yeah, he's
Shia
gonna
will
follow
do.
in the path of-
Following
Yeah.
Bill Murray's
Yeah.
footsteps, I think is the
Got it.
the
Yeah.
clarification there.
That's a good
All
place
right.
to end.
Okay.
That's it.
You know what? I need to write like an outro on here so I know how to outro this thing. But go watch The Birthday. It's on assortedkinds.com.
Yeah.
You can find all of us at Assorted Kinds on your various social media.
You know, I still call you
things.
Claire Bear.
Do you?
Yeah, Claire Bear.
Cute.
It's Claire Bear. That's what it is.
Some
me.
habits die hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I'll never forget the quesadilla Australian moment.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what was
On
that?
the porch.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was just telling you guys how they say quesadilla.
And also,
You taught Chris a lot that morning.
Watch
They
the behind the
do.
scenes. Watch the behind the scenes. It's a good
Quesadilla.
Have you
moment.
seen the behind the scenes?
Tortilla.
Yeah.
Guys,
You
Yeah.
did both.
learn Spanish.
man.
Just
Come on.
learn a little bit of
Come
Spanish.
on. I
It's
mean, you-
wrong.
Should
wrong.
I call you Castillo?
I love
Don't
Aussies,
you
and
fuck
my
with
heart
me right
goes
now,
out
Kevin.
to
Don't you
them.
fucking
I
do
didn't think
it.
I was supposed to call
But
you
like,
that.
please learn Spanish,
Please.
please.
That's our PSA for you.
Claire, where do people find you?
At Claire Dellamar is my Insta and Facebook, and you can find me at clairedellamar.com if you really want to check.
And
me
her
out.
address is.
Yeah,
No, that's all you get.
Yeah.
that's all you got.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
What
and
about you,
then-
Chris?
Well, I mean, at Chris Laughter.
Okay.
You know,
That's
at
cool.
Assorted Kinds. You can find me. Just look on the internet, dude.
What about you, Nicole?
Babytron.
No, because that Babytron stole my fucking shit.
Aw.
Baby underscore Tron.
Yeah.
That's
That's what it is.
garbage.
Yeah, okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
change that
you
one.
know, she
Change
doesn't even post anything.
Just
but
change it
whatever.
to the enabler.
Yeah.
With that voice. Only if that voice could be fucking announcing it every fucking time.
I like
Just
it.
put like Keanu Reeves up there or something.
Dang. That's
Calories.
enough. If we could get Keanu.
Keanu.
And
Oh.
Shia, if they were
That
in a
would
movie
be-
together, dude, the movie would
Shit.
literally
Dude, it
catch
would
on
just
fire.
explode. It would just
Just
explode.
explode.
Everyone would die.
Yeah. Yeah. We owe
But it'd
it
be
to
great.
The,
It'd be
we
so
owe it to
worth
the
It'd be
world
so
to not
great.
do that. We owe it to the world.
We
All
need to
right.
do another weekend getaway Assorted Kinds production. I'm like really jonesing for that again.
All right. Yeah. I mean, if you did it once, you can do it again.
I know.
Should we get the same cabin?
Maybe.
It'd be funny if
Yeah.
in their Airbnb, like they
No
have stipulation.
Right?
I feel like they do. Some of them do
Some of
now.
them do.
Yeah.
What about
the nicer
that?
ones?
Do that like before midnight after sunset thing. You know, you could just get the same actors and everybody in the same spot,
yeah.
like many years
What?
later, and just keep filming the
The-
continued story.
Was that Linklater? Did no.
It's Ethan Hawke, and
Yeah,
Wait, what?
Linklater.
they did 3 of them. It's like Before Sunset.
Oh, that's right. I never saw any of them.
Me neither.
Just 3 of them. You can watch Boyhood too. It's kind of the same thing.
Okay, well, see you guys.
All right. Good night. Gotta work on these outros.
I know.
Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy
so
birthday,
smooth.
Chris.
It actually was my birthday on Friday. you guys.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Claire.
Thanks. It was a good time.
40?
Yep.
No, not yet.
We all
Dang.
turn 40 this year.